This latest story really caught my eye, and I found it extremely irritating. AWS is the behemoth associated with Amazon. AWS is short for Amazon Web Services. A large part, a majority of internet traffic in this country goes through all of their servers. Last week, distraught Amazon employees sent AWS chief executive Matt Garman an open letter against RTO. What's RTO? That's return to the office policy. They called it an outright abdication of its role as an industry leader. Now, you've got to be kidding me. The inmates are well and truly running the asylum. I think this is indicative of something bigger going on here. The very fact that these employees have been emboldened to think that they have a platform to make these demands means we've lost this battle a long time ago, my friends. My next guest has her own firm. They're growing, and she's been in expansion mode for a while now. And I wanted to get her thoughts on this next subject, as see what she would have done had she been the one that got a letter like this. Please welcome to the show, Ms. Rebecca Walser. Rebecca, you're awesome. I know you've got a big and growing firm down there in Florida. Can you imagine, I think temerity is a good word, but can you imagine them thinking that they have the right or the ability to send a letter like that to the CEO? Now, it's not just Amazon. It's happening other places too, by the way.
You know, I think that it does. It says something about the human spirit that we were able to go remote and still not have our companies fall apart. So I'm so glad that AWS was able to go remote and still continue on. But the fact is that when you give employees this ability to work hybridly, because they're in the office right now 3 days a week, and you tell them you have to come back Monday, Friday, or whatever it is, and they start acting like this, what happens is when you give people an inch, they start to think, you know, Scott, this is my right now. I have a right as an employee to work from home 2 days a week out of a 5-day work week. And if the company is saying this is not good for our bottom line, it's not innovative enough, it's not collaborative enough, we need to get the synergy back in from being in 5 days a week, there's a reason these CEOs and these executives are saying that. And you know, Amazon's not even unionized. So this threatened walkout, all of these things, you know, it's really a tough road. And when you start to look at the labor market, look at the jobs report we got on Friday, Scott, we have a huge miss, 12,000 jobs, supposed to have 100,000, another revision down for August and September of 112,000 jobs. Once again, BLS is, you know, giving us fake numbers before this election. This economy and the strength of the labor market is not what people are thinking that it is. So you better make sure that you can replicate and replace your benefits and your salary before you start acting like you have a right to work from home for 2 days a week.
Totally agree. And I would throw it like this. I mean, I've run some, you know, banks in my past. And I would say this as a manager, as a CEO, right? You know, this is why you got to come out strong and have a very tough line. And then you can always loosen policy along the way. But when you come out loose, right, then that's when the problems start, because you can't tighten once you came out loose. You can always go looser once you've come out tight. But sometimes these people, they were worried about getting the right people, wanted to keep them employed over the pandemic or whatever. They all of a sudden gave these people some power that they didn't really probably have to. And now that power's been given, you can't take it back. That's the problem. How do you roll it back unless the firm goes under? There's no way. I mean, you're going to have people. I would say this. I was always debited for my desk, my chair, air conditioning. I was at banks. We always did that, right? So if you want to work from home, I'm going to break up that desk into a daily cost. And if you want to be there, you want to stay at home Friday and Monday, you can, but I'm taking $500 a day off for it because I got to pay for the overhead that you don't want to come sit in.
Well, I mean, that's the point, right? Like all of our urban centers, all of our major cities, everything has been completely transitioned to a new way. And Scott, they can't survive. The dry cleaners, the delis, they all cannot survive when people are not in the office 5 days a week. It has fundamentally transformed our urban centers, our cities. And if AWS, if Amazon cannot tell their employees, professional staff, to come back 5 days a week, then all hope is lost. We will never see a 5-day-a-week in-person work week again if companies as large as Amazon can't make their employees say, okay, it is what it is. We have to go back. I mean, you know, there's not this hybrid schedule into perpetuity. We have to go back. So this is a real big tell. I cannot wait to see how Amazon handles this. I hope they stick to their guns, because if they think that they need their employees in for collaboration 5 days a week, if that's their assessment, then that's their professional assessment, and they should be able to have their work staff come back. I mean, as a person, I like my hybrid schedule, but if my company tells me, hey, you got to be back or this is not good for the company economy on the long term, that's what you're getting paid for 5 days a week. And unfortunately, take an inch, take a mile, and now these people think they have a right. And you've got to do your best. Amazon, you're leading the way here. You've got to do your best to say, no, there will be some jobs, professional, white-collar jobs that require 5 days a week in the office. And if they back down, that's it, Scott. That's it. The rest of everyone's going to say, well, look what happened to Amazon. The workers revolted, and they stayed with their 3-day-week hybrid schedule. And this is a big tell for the entire economy for the United States.
All right, two things I'll say. We're not here for the guy selling pizza or the laundromat. I mean, those people are collateral damage from this happening, right? But at the same time, we're always missing the biggest point. I think it was Steve Jobs that said the most valuable thing in 2025. He was asked this in 2000. What he thought the most invaluable business thing in 2025 will be face-to-face communication. Well, there's going to be no more mentorship. There's going to be all those things that you and I had when we were younger in the office. That's gone, and people don't understand what they're missing because they don't know about it, right? So that's going to be one of the bigger problems out there. I like this getting back to the office thing. I don't like these kids thinking that they can do what they want about this power that's been bestowed upon them just to make sure that they stuck around during the pandemic. But you're right. We'll have to wait and see how this shakes out. It's going to be a good one to watch. Really appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much, Rebecca. We'll see you again next week. Have a good one. Rebecca Walser coming to us from